Village Vice. I'm Zach Blackerby. He is the Brad Law, and this is Village Vice. We got some buy-sell today. We've got our Village Vice six-pack, and we're going to talk a little basketball because Brad's in Brooklyn with the team, so why not? As we get ready for the Legends Classic starting Thursday night. They will also play Friday, depending on the time, depends on if they win or lose and all that good stuff. But, Brad, let's start off with buy-sell, if you don't mind. And, of course, that's brought to you by our buddy Ross Kilpatrick at Exit Realty Anchor South in Auburn, serving the Auburn area with locations in Auburn, Lake Martin, and Fort Walton Beach. From Auburn to Lake Martin to the Emerald Coast of Florida, contact Ross Kilpatrick with Exit Realty Anchor South for all of your real estate needs. Of course, War Eagle from Ross. All right, are we buying or selling? Auburn has over 400 yards of total offense against New Mexico State on Saturday.
I will buy that. I think the offense is playing with confidence. I think they're in rhythm. I don't think they've been playing so well offensively that this is a game they slack off. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, that they're just not to the point of complacency yet. They haven't done it long enough. So I think the hunger is still there. And, I think they'll look awfully good offensively.
Yeah, this New Mexico State team is decent. Like, I think it's a lot better than a lot of people expected it to be, especially after they lost to UMass to start the season. But when you look at what they do and how they beat people, they outscore them. They don't really slow folks down. And so if Auburn takes care of the football, they should be able to move the ball pretty effectively and consistently over the course of these 60 minutes. So I think even if New Mexico State were to pull the unthinkable, I think they're going to have to do it by like beating Auburn to 50 points, right? So, I think Auburn gets over 400 yards of offense. I'm buying that.
Yeah, Brad, I think pretty balanced, too.
Yeah, they are. They are. Which quarterback plays? It seems like their backup will play. How much does that impact their offense, too? Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Brad, as we record this Thursday morning, 10 years ago, it was the prayer in Jordan Hare. Some people call it the miracle, whatever. Ricardo Lewis's catch from Nick Marshall to put Auburn ahead of Georgia in 2013. So are you buy or selling that the play that happened 10 years ago is a top 3 play in Auburn history?
Yeah, I buy that. Of course. I buy that. That play and the kick six together are 2 of the top 3 plays in Auburn history. I mean, kick six, obviously, but the implications of the game of the Iron Bowl that year aren't what they are without the miracle at Jordan Hare. And the fact that Auburn blew a 20-point fourth quarter lead, the fact that Aaron Murray's touchdown should have never been ruled a touchdown that gave Georgia the lead. So there's a little bit of ball don't lie with the miracle at Jordan Hare. Sure. Go back and watch it. That's a real thing. Everything around that, just there was no chance for Auburn to recover after losing that lead. There was no chance. But they fashioned a chance, and they made it happen, and that set up the mother of all Iron Bowls a couple of weeks later. So, yes, absolutely I buy that it's one of the top 3 plays in Auburn history. I have a little story about that play if you would like to hear it.
I want to hear as much about this play as possible. So, yes, enlighten us.
At the time, I worked in North Carolina for what is now Learfield. It was IMG then, and they were the rights holder at that time for Auburn, for Georgia, for many other schools. And I worked on the Michigan broadcast at the time. And our broadcasts were set up in literally office cubicles, right? Mm-hmm. You had your soundboard, you had monitors, you had TVs, you had all of your equipment just in a cubicle. And so I was working the Michigan game, and directly behind me across the aisle was the Auburn broadcast. All right. Directly beside me, I mean, immediately to my right was the Georgia broadcast. And he and I had so much fun, like at each other's expense. He would bark at me and I would say War Eagle to him. And it was a really fun time. So we're up 20 points and I'm barking at him playfully throughout the early part of the second half. They start to come back and then he's barking literally. Well, you have to understand, I'm watching I couldn't tell you what happened in the Michigan game. All right. I'm sorry to all my Michigan friends. Couldn't tell you at all what was happening in the Michigan game at the time. It was probably a big game. They were pretty good that year. But the Auburn broadcast is going on behind me, and they are, the guy who's running that broadcast is ahead of everybody else because he's hearing it happen in real time. Everybody else is just watching on TV. And so he doesn't want to give away what's happening, but it's 4th and 18. Everybody's watching 4th down and they think nothing good is going to happen here. He starts pounding the side of the cubicle as hard as he can. And we all, what in the world is happening on this play? And then sure enough, we all watch it play out and all the reaction and the whole building, like you could tell everybody at once throughout the whole building reacted to that play. That's the kind of special play that it was. And it's kind of neat to have a unique memory of that play.
Yeah, it's a where were you when this happened type moment.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody knows. And I was there. I was in my parents' seats that game. I mean, it was incredible. It was incredible. So that happened 10 years ago. It's flown by. But yeah, I buy it too. I think it's a top 3 play in Auburn football history. 3 quarterbacks play for Auburn on Saturday. You buying or selling?
Yeah, I'll buy that. Yep, I will. I think you saw 3 against Arkansas, and I think this game goes similar to how the Arkansas game went. So yeah, I will buy that as well. I think we see Robbie. I think we see Holden.
All right, let's zoom out just a little bit. Let's zoom out on this buy sell.
Do you buy or sell that, by the way?
I do. I do buy it. No need to throw anything, but I do buy that. Right. Yes. Brian Harsin will be the head coach at Boise next year. You buying or selling?
What are you doing?
He's the odds-on favorite at this point.
Yeah, I know.
According to our friends at MyBookie.
I buy that. I think he will. And I think he'll win there, by the way, just to clarify. Just for anybody who happens to see this, not naming names, but just for anybody in particular.
Yeah, if anybody wants to slide in DMs or whatever, I think it'd be great.
Sure.
I think it'd be great.
Whatever you're doing with your free time. Yes, I think he will be. I buy that, and I think he'll win there.
All right. Texas A&M, they call Jimbo Fisher and or Urban Meyer for their head coaching job.
Texas A&M won't call Jimbo Fisher. No, I don't think they'll call Jimbo. Because
I didn't mean Jimbo. I meant Dabo Sweeney. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, I don't think they will. I sell that. I think they will target Rhett Lashley or Mike Elko. I think Elko number 1. Wow. I think Lashley number 2.
Wow.
Yep.
I'm buying it. I don't think you pay 70+ mil for Mike Elko. I just have a hard time wrapping my brain around that. But maybe you do. Maybe you do.
You're also not going to pay your next guy, 9 or 10 or 11 or 12 million a year, unless he's
depends who it is. But sure, you're right.
Let me ask you this: in today's college football world, is Dabo in 2023 any better than what Jimbo was in 2017 or 2018?
I think so.
Yeah, is Dabo going to get Clemson back to the level at which they were? Now, what Dabo's done at Clemson is already better than what Jimbo did at Florida State. I'm just saying there was a noticeable decline at Florida State before Jimbo ever left Tallahassee. So is what we're seeing at Clemson the same thing, or is it just a one-off?
I think Clemson needs an elite quarterback for them to win, but that's most college programs. So I don't think that's this huge knock against Dabo. Yeah. I just don't think he's maybe as elite of a coach, but he's a top 5 coach in college football, wouldn't you think?
Based on his record, yeah. Based on the last 10 years, yes. Based on the next 10, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's the question. But I think he's more likely to be a top 10 coach over the next 10 years than Mike Elko or Rhett Lashley.
I don't know.
Really?
I don't know about that. I really do think that Dabo's time has crested and that that he is on the downside of his coaching career.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
And by the way, I don't want to take anything away. It's been a magnificent 10 years. They really did. What he said a few weeks ago in his rant is true. They had never done before at Clemson what he's been able to do there. They're just not recruiting at the same level. DJ Uiagalelei went to Oregon State, and I get it's the Pac-12. Don't come at me with it's Pac-12 versus this, that, or the other. But
Pac-12 is the best conference in football right now.
he's doing just fine out in Corvallis. If Dabo had DJ this year, would they be 6-4?
Don't know.
So there's no question if we're talking about resumes and total package resumes. Dabo is a top 5 coach in college football. But if you look ahead, if you forecast the next 10 years, not so sure.
All right. That's Buy Sell, and it's brought to you by our friend Ross Kilpatrick at Exit Realty Anchor South. Give him a call. It's Christmas. Buy a house for your family. You deserve it. Your family deserves it. Call them at 334-402-0028. Thank you so much to Ross for partnering with Village Vice. Time for a little 6-pack action.
All right.
Brad Law.
We're gonna get into these games right away here. The Village Vice 6-pack. I have no idea what the standings are. I don't go track that. If anybody else wants to track it for us and leave it in the comments, that'd be great. We'll start with a top 10 Louisville team. Everybody saw Louisville in the top 10 at the beginning of the year, didn't they? Louisville is at Miami. Top 10 Louisville. How big a favorite is Louisville? They're not. Miami's a 1-point favorite in Coral Gables.
Yeah, I'm going to take Louisville. And it's not that I believe in Louisville. It's just Miami hasn't shown me anything that they can win an important game this year. Louisville has. So I'll go with Louisville.
All right. I kind of like Miami here. I don't know that Louisville can sustain what they've been doing. And I think so I just, and that is purely because it's not because I followed Louisville. It's just they haven't been there. They've got to prove that they can sustain it before I believe it in November.
Sure.
So that's a quick start to our Village Vice 6-pack. How about number 22, Utah against 17th ranked Arizona? Arizona is the 1-point favorite here. And I'll tell you, Zach, I really like Arizona. I like the freshman quarterback they have. They play exciting football. They have revitalized that program there at Arizona.
Yeah, and what Arizona's doing is they're getting better every week, which is what well-coached football teams do. So props to Arizona. It takes a lot for me to pick against Utah, but I'm going to. I'm going to take Arizona just because this hasn't been Utah's year. Them being hurt and missing their quarterback and Cam Rising has impacted this team, and they thought they'd be in it at this point of the season, and they're not. So I'm going to go with Arizona for a lot of the reasons you just said, Brad.
It goes back to a little bit of the bowl game mindset too. Is what are you playing for? Who's the more motivated team? And for the reasons you just listed, I think Arizona is a more motivated team. That's going to be a really entertaining ball game, by the way.
I think so. I agree with you.
How about Georgia and Tennessee in Knoxville? It's a top 20 game. Tennessee's hanging on there at number 18. Georgia, a 10-point favorite on the road. They battled Missouri. They battled Ole Miss. Can they do it again against a top 20 team? I mean, is Georgia – are we at that point with Georgia where they're just the odds-on favorite now to make it 3 titles in a row?
Brad, when I saw this line, let me tell you what I did.
Yeah.
First, I saw it, and I'm like, okay, Georgia 10.5, interesting. Let me go get my glasses because I don't think I'm reading this right. Put my glasses on. Still said 10.5. I'm like, okay. I thought maybe I misread that 0 for an 8. Maybe it was 18.5, and I just couldn't see that line. No, it was 10.5. Interesting. Yeah. I go ask my wife, who has much better eyesight than me. I'm like, what's this number? She says 10.5. I'm like, okay, all right. So then I almost dropped my phone and then broke it because I was pushing so hard to get to mybookie.ag to just bet the house on Georgia to cover. I mean, I do not get it. I get that Tennessee's good at home. Yeah. I get it. They're not as good on the road, but they haven't played a Georgia this year. In fact, the closest thing they've played to a Georgia was a Missouri. And that went very poorly, and Georgia is way, 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 way better than Missouri. Yeah, give me Georgia, and I think they cover the 10.5.
So what you're saying is you like Georgia in that game?
Yeah.
All right. How about Kentucky and South Carolina?
What about you? Are you taking Georgia?
Yeah, I'm taking Georgia. Okay, absolutely. Right. Yeah.
That would have been awkward if we disagreed on that.
After all that buildup. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kentucky at South Carolina. These are the 2 teams that have underachieved relative to expectations the most in the SEC. Florida's battling for that title too a little bit. But Kentucky and South Carolina, Kentucky a 1.5-point favorite on the road. Let me ask this instead of asking who wins the game, because frankly, I don't think a lot of people watching this care who wins Kentucky, South Carolina.
Kentucky wins.
All right. The losing coach in this game, in any trouble?
I don't think so. I can't imagine Stoops ever getting fired from Kentucky. Like, I think it would take multiple losing seasons in order for him to do that. And they beat Florida. Like, that means a lot to those folks. So I don't think so. South Carolina, I think you've got a better argument, but man, they love Beamer. They love him over there. And I think they believe in what he's doing. And I don't blame him. I think he's building a foundation there. So I don't think so, Brad. I don't think so. The only other coaches in the conference I think I could see getting canned, Pittman at Arkansas. Then I think after that is a pretty big drop off. Napier is probably next, but I don't think he's going anywhere at Florida unless he continues to lose this recruiting class he's put together, which could happen, right?
Yeah, they're falling quick.
They are. People are flipping like pancakes over there. So after that, I don't really see anybody else losing their job this year.
Yeah. All right. How about the game I'm most looking forward to watching and listening to, because my good friend Tony Castricone is the voice of the Washington Huskies. Number 5, Washington. Number 11, Oregon State in Corvallis. Beavers a 2.5-point favorite, nearly a pick 'em, but they get the home field advantage. Really exciting matchup out of the Pac-12, and Auburn's game will be finished by then. So, yeah, looking forward to this one. What do you think?
Yeah, it's the game of the week for sure.
Yeah.
The line of this has shifted dramatically because Washington was a favorite, and then to be a 2.5-point dog, it's pretty wild. I don't get it. I don't fully understand it. It's no disrespect to Oregon State. I just think Washington's really, really good. I think they're I think they're an elite football team. I think they should be in the college football playoff, and they will if they continue to win.
That's right.
I'm going with my gut, and I'm not going to pick against Penix unless they're playing, Alabama or Georgia.
Yeah.
So I'll stick with Washington here.
Oregon State's 2 losses this year came on the road at Washington State by 3.
Yeah.
And at Arizona by 3. So, 2 road games, games where they held those teams under their season average. Their defense is awfully good.
Mm-hmm.
This is a struggle for me because I want to pick Washington. I want to pick Michael Penix. My head says, though, that Oregon State finds a way to get it done at home. Now, it's not an 80,000-seat, stadium, but still, they've had a home field advantage. Their defense has played well, and unless Penix and company are just as crisp as they've been all season long, I'm going to go Beavers to get it done. I'll go Oregon State to give Washington its first loss and really disrupt that apple cart a whole lot more, because a one-loss Washington team with all those other one-loss teams makes for interesting playoff conversation.
Yeah, it muddies the water because the committee, I think, would then want to put Oregon ahead of Washington, but I don't think they can because of the head-to-head. That's what we were seeing with, Alabama's always one spot behind Texas in these CFP rankings because Texas won the head-to-head. So that really messed things up. So the Zach that roots for chaos inside of me wouldn't mind that. So I can't wait for that one Saturday night.
All right, finally, Auburn and New Mexico State. Neither of us think Auburn is going to lose this game.
I think Auburn covers, Brad.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know. I think somewhere in the 41-13 type range is what I'm thinking. Maybe 41-16, a touchdown and some field goals because I think they can move the ball. They can move the ball somewhat efficiently. But Auburn's defense in the red zone is excellent, and so I don't think they get more than one touchdown.
Yeah, I said 35-10 on Locked on Auburn.
Yeah.
So there we go.
There's your Village Vice 6-pack. Before we move on and talk some basketball, Zach, I got to talk about our friends at manscaped.com. Listen, if you are thinking about Manscaped, you need to go to manscaped.com. Use the promo code VICE. You get 20% off plus free shipping when you use that promo code VICE. And I got to tell you about the Manscaped Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, the ultimate bundle for the man who deserves it all, and that's you. right? You're a man, you're watching, you deserve it all. So get the Manscaped Performance Package 5.0. We're talking about the whole plate and dessert here this Thanksgiving season. You got the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, the Weed Whacker 2.0, that's the ear and nose trimmer, Manscaped's liquid formulations, plus 2 free gifts. 2 free gifts. So
Wow.
when you've tackled the fur, Zach, it's time to make sure you smell like royalty with the Crop Soother Aftershave Lotion and the Crop Preserver Anti-Chafe Ball Deodorant. You ever tried ball deodorant before? Numero uno. Once, Zach, what I like to say is, once they touch your sack, you'll never go back, Zach.
How often do you say that? How
Oh,
many times have you said that out loud?
multiple times. I mean,
Got it.
it's become a mantra of
Okay.
mine. I say it multiple times a day, and you will too when you go to manscaped.com. Use the promo code VICE, get 20% off plus free shipping.
All right. Hard to keep
Okay.
going after that. Not gonna lie.
No. We just keep right on rolling here because we got to talk basketball. This team is playing Notre Dame tonight, Thursday night, at the Barclays Center. We went yesterday, Zach, to the Brooklyn Nets practice facility.
Yeah.
It's unreal. It's on the 7th floor of a warehouse in downtown Brooklyn, and you see the entire New York City skyline, the Manhattan skyline, from the window of this practice facility. There are pictures out there. It is stunning to
Wow.
see.
That's cool.
And the team went out for a really nice dinner along the river last night. And it's been an awesome trip. And now it's kind of time to flip the switch from really cool stuff that you get to see to go win a basketball game against a Notre Dame team that's picked last in the ACC.
Yeah, Notre Dame, I think on paper looks like a really big game. It looks like a real big marquee matchup. Auburn, Notre Dame, and
Yeah.
a non-conference tournament in Brooklyn. But when you look at the numbers, like you can make the argument that Notre Dame is the worst team in the Power Six in basketball this season, based on what they've done so far, right? So that's like that's a game Auburn needs to win. That's a
Yeah.
game that Auburn needs to win, especially kind of already having a loss on your schedule. We've talked about how many Power Five teams are on your non-conference schedule, and of course, Notre Dame being one of them. You need to take care of business. You need to take care of business, and I think Auburn should be able to do that.
Yeah, Notre Dame is a young team. So the Penn State coach, Micah Shrewsbury, was there 2 years. He left to take over for Mike Bray at Notre Dame, and the whole team virtually is new. They have a couple of freshmen who are averaging 15 points a game. They're playing about 9 guys. So I think so many freshmen and so little player rotations. Auburn's physicality, Auburn's depth need to be used to their advantage in the game tonight. And then they get, the winner of this game gets the winner of Oklahoma State and St. Bonaventure. All 4 teams in the tournament are 1-1 coming in. Auburn's loss to Baylor is really the only one that you look at and go, well, okay, I could expect, I can buy that. I can understand that one. The others, they're bad losses. And so if you just look at that, Auburn, I think, should be the favorite to win the 2 games that they play here. And that would be good coming back home.
Yeah, and they will be. They're a 14.5-point favorite against Notre Dame tonight. Whether they play Oklahoma State or the Bonnies, I think they'll be favored in that game as well. So we'll see. Auburn, the way college basketball works is you're going to be favored in a lot of these. You got to win them. You got to go out and win them. And so this is still a team that's learning to gel and mesh, and rotations may look different, or rotations may be impacted. Just because that's what Bruce Pearl does early in the season, is he tries a bunch of different things with different personnel, especially when it's a big reload like this offseason has been. So there's growing pains in that. I don't care how talented you are, Brad, you know it. You're with this team a ton. Like, you understand, like, these guys are really talented and these guys really like each other, but you still got to learn how to play basketball together. And so that's what this trip is about. And hopefully we see a step in that right direction when Auburn takes on Notre Dame this evening.
No question. And there's so much more. I love the being around these guys gives me such a better opportunity to learn that little things matter. You're not just out there playing backyard pickup basketball. You got to be at this spot at this time, and here's why. And this guy don't leave this spot until this guy's gone to this spot, and here's why. There's a lot of little details that a bunch of guys who didn't know each other a few months ago, similar to football in the first half of the season, they're trying to figure that out, and I'm excited to see what it looks like.
Yep. Brad Law, we got to a lot on today's show, but I think that about does it for today's version of Village Vice.
It does. We thank everybody for watching. Remember, until next time, everyone has vices. Make sure Village Vice is one of yours.